Welcome to another episode of Watch Me Do Family History with Chris Knudsen. Today we are going to find out who is Henry Russell. My goal is to help people learn how to do family history by watching me do family history. I do what is called Descendancy Research. I go back really far in my family tree and I come back forward looking for missing branches in the tree. I find children who do not have a wife or husband, and I find their wife or husband. Let's get started. So first we're going to go to one of my ancestors. His name is Joseph Arbuckle. And we always look at the descendancy view. And the goal is to look for children who don't have a spouse listed. So I've already picked the daughter of Joseph Arbuckle, America Alice Arbuckle. And she married James Russell, and they had another son named James Russell, who married Cynthia Jane Spinks. So here we have this couple, James Russell and Cynthia Jane Spinks, and they have 3 children, Edgar, Henry, and Mary. Edgar already has a spouse, but their second son, Henry, doesn't have a spouse. Let's see if we can find a spouse for Henry. So we're going to click on Henry Russell and open up him in a new tab. Okay, so here we have Henry Russell, and we see we have a little bit of information. He was born in 1881 in Tennessee. He died on the 6th of December 1951 in Pinson, Jefferson County, Alabama. Let's see what sources we have attached already. So we have a 1910 United States Census, and we have a 1951 death record, and a 1900 census record, it looks like. For some reason, the date isn't listed. Let's go ahead and add this date. So I'm going to click Add, and this is a 1910 census record, but there's no information on it. So that's interesting. 1900. So we may want to go back and try to find that record and make it better. So let's look at we see there's a Henry S, so there's a middle initial of S, and here in this Alabama death record, the S is for Spinks, which makes sense because if we go back to details and we scroll down, we look and see his mother was named Cynthia Jane Spinks, so that would make sense for there to be that name. So let's go ahead and add that. So we're going to go up here to Henry Russell, and we're going to edit his name. And we're going to make his middle name Spinks. And we're going to hit save. And here we have a Find a Grave index. That's a record hint. So that's always good for Family Search to find stuff for us automatically. So we're going to click on that. And we have a birth date, 1st of December 1880, and a death date, 6th of December 1951. Which we already had listed on him. So we're going to review and attach this record. Henry S. Russell, 1st December 1880, which makes sense because that's an approximate birth year here from one of the census records. And we have the death date. So now we get to add the burial, which was in Pinson, Jefferson County, Alabama. And we're going to click, oh wait, before we click attach, we're going to add 1st of December 1880 as his birth date. 1st of December 1880. Okay, so now let's go back. We're going to close that tab, and we're going to go back 1st of December. We're going to edit his birth year, 1st of December 1880. And I'm going to click on the calendar down here. That makes it an official calendar date. And hit save. And now let's just go ahead and hit the refresh button. See if we get any new record hints. Henry Spinks Russell. Okay, no record hints. Now, I wonder if that Find a Grave record has any more information. So I'm going to click on here. We're going to go down here. So we know the death date was 1951, so we're going to add that into this record name. And click Save. Okay, so if we want to go to the Find a Grave website, we click on this and go to image available. It's not really an image, it's just a website. Okay, so no information there. So let's go back to Henry Spinks Russell. And let's go to details page and do a search. So we're going to click on Ancestry. And we know we have a 1900 census and a 1910 census. Okay, here's another Alabama death record. Here's a birth record. His birthplace was Crockett. Oh, we've got the middle name of his dad, James Flandrine Russell. That's interesting. Some more information linking him with his parents. And okay, so here's World War I draft registration in 1917, showing his birth date again, 1st of December 1880. Let's look at that draft registration. So this is always a good type of record to attach. He's currently living in Memphis, Shelby, Tennessee. So we're going to highlight this information. And I'm going to use a record seek to attach this record. So we're going to hit family search. And it gathers all the information for me, shows it in the title, and there's a URL link to the page, and the notes that I highlighted go in this notes section. So we're going to save now and attach later. And I'm going to go ahead and close that. It brings us back here. Now we're going to go back to Henry Spinks and add that as a source. So we put it in the source box. So I'm going to click on the sources tab here, and up at the top I'm going to add a source, attach from source box. And Henry Spinks Russell in the U.S. World War I draft registration cards. I'm going to attach that. And what is the reason to attach? It's same birth date, so we know it's him. Same name and birth date. And now I'm going to click on Henry Spinks Russell again, to go back to his page, and go back to his details. Now, back on that U.S. World War I draft registration, there are several suggested records from Ancestry. 1900, there's one from 1940, Henry S. Russell. 1940, married, Clay, Mississippi. Okay, here's a Henry S. Russell, married to a Cleo Russell, and a son named James H. So I don't have anything on here that would link me with his parents. So there may be lots of Henry S. Russells, and he's living in Clay, Mississippi. So is there anything that would link me to him? in 1940. So let's go back here. He died in 1951. Oh, look at that. Now we've got the World War Draft Registration number 1 from Family Search that we can attach after we just attached it using Ancestry. So he was in Tennessee. Where was he on the draft registration? Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, so we don't know if that's him or not. Here's a 1930 census record. Let's click on that one. Okay, Memphis, Shelby, Tennessee in 1830. Married to Cleo. Okay. And if I remember right, that World War I draft registration was in Memphis, Tennessee, Shelby County. So Henry Spinks Russell, living in Memphis, Shelby, Tennessee in 1917. So he was still there in 1930, but now he's married. Who was he married to? So on the draft registration card, sometimes it lists the closest relative. Mrs. J. F. Russell. Is that his dad? Yeah, James F. Russell. So he must not have been married yet. So in 1917, he wasn't married yet. But then by 1930, he was married to Cleo Russell. I'm pretty confident that this is correct because of the Memphis, Tennessee link that we have going on here. But Cleo doesn't show up in any of the other records. Let's see if this newspaper obituary says anything. J.F. Russell. So Mrs. J.F. Russell, Humboldt, Tennessee. Mrs. J.F. Russell died at her home. Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Russell reside here with J.F. Russell. Mrs. Russell is at present in California. She's survived by her 2 sons, Clyde and Henry. It doesn't say anything more about Henry. Okay, so that's a record that we can attach to the mom. But I'm pretty confident that that 1930 census is the correct Henry Russell. Let's see what happens if we click on Cleo Russell. And she's quite a bit younger, which may mean that they did get married later. Okay, here's Cleo Russell in an obituary. Wigington, Wigington. Mrs. Wigington died at the home of her daughter, Mrs. Ray Reagan, Birmingham, Saturday. Mrs. Wigington leaves 6 children. Mrs. Reagan, Bryce, Wigington, Birmingham. Mrs. Clover Osborne, Tuscumbia. Mrs. Cleo Russell, and Herbert Wigington, Red Bay. Mrs. Hall, Belmont. Several grandchildren also survive. So Red Bay, and this is in Alabama, Russellville, Alabama. Okay, so that's an interesting article. Let's see, what else do we have? So let's go ahead and find that 1930 census in Family Search and see if we can add that, showing his wife as Cleo. And now we know his wife's name is Wigington, Cleo Wigington. Okay, so here we found the Henry S. Russell United States 1930 census with spouse Cleo Russell. And I'm going to come over here and attach that to the family tree. So here we have Henry S. Russell, 1800, Tennessee, matches him perfectly, living in Memphis, Shelby, Tennessee, and I'm going to click attach. And we are going to add his wife. Now, because we know that her maiden name is Wigington, I'm going to go ahead and add that. Is there a G there? Wigington? Wigington. Yeah. Okay. And she was born in Mississippi, so that makes sense. We're going to add the residence and click attach. Okay. So now we have Henry Spinks Russell married to Cleo Wigington. And now this person has a spouse. And we're going to go ahead and add the father of Cleo Wigington, since we know Paul Wigington is her dad. So we're going to add a parent. And he's deceased. And he's male. And we're going to click next. Okay, Paul Anthony Wigington. This is a possible match to this guy we're adding. So that's pretty good that it recognized that this Paul Wigington, he must not be a common name. And from Alabama, 1870 makes sense because she was born in 1898 or something like that. So Cleo being the daughter makes sense. And death in Red Bay, Alabama. And that makes sense because they were living in Red Bay, Alabama. So I'm going to click Add Match, and we're going to add the couple. So the lady who died that was Mrs. Paul Anthony Wigington was probably Margaret Adele Whitehead Wigington. So we're going to select the couple. Now, I always like to see, I know I'm related to Henry Spinks Russell. Am I also related to Cleo through her parents? So let's click on Paul Anthony Wigington. And why is he yellow? Oh, he must be frozen or something. Okay, let's go back to details and let's click on View My Relationship. Paul Anthony Wigington is my 8th cousin 3 times removed. 8th cousin 3 times removed. So I have to go clear back to the early 1600s. Interesting. So I just grew my family tree and made myself related to both the husband and the wife, Cleo Wigington being the wife and her husband Henry Spinks Russell. And we're going to end it there. So if you liked this video, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please click the subscribe button. Watch me do family history. And I am always interested in helping other people do descendancy research. If you would like me to do research on your tree, just put the name and ID number. So like here's the ID number. Put the name and ID number in the comments section on this video, and maybe I'll use it to do one of my future videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.